Wow, background noise. Welcome to New York City. Barry left this morning for San Diego. My flight doesn't leave until 6 p.m. So I thought I would start the day with a trip to Bubby's and a little walk around Soho before heading someplace pretty special. All right, let's go. So that last shot that you just saw, Casey Neistat's old studio. A couple of people have mentioned that you see some similar styles between the videos that I'm shooting. Thank you. Second, they are a far cry from anything he's ever done. Little known fact, he used to live in the same apartment building that Barry and I lived in. We were there about a couple years after he was, but it's that building right there. That building is 395 Broadway. For those of you who have heard Barry's story, the Basement to Broadway story, that is the apartment on Broadway that I eventually moved into with her. And we were just a couple of blocks away from 368 Broadway, which is where Casey's studio was when he was living here in New York City. Pretty cool, right? All right, so I'm outside of B&H Photo, and let's talk about today's question. It's a question that I get asked a lot, which is if I'm gonna do a virtual event, what are some things that I can do to up-level the video production? One is video switching, and the other is audio. So let's pop into B&H and take a look at 3 products that you wanna consider if you're gonna be up-leveling your virtual event experience. All right, here we go. All right, so minor change of plans. I found out today that when your microphone that you're using runs out of batteries, the resulting video has no audio. This should not come as a massive surprise to anybody, but for some reason it came as a surprise to me. I'm now sitting at LaGuardia Airport. I've got about a half an hour or so before my flight takes off, and I figured I would share with you a couple of things. I decided to get a new lens for this camera. And you may think to yourself, well, you've got a pretty nice lens already, but I wanted something that had a little bit wider focal range, like a little bit wider view. So I picked up this Tamron lens that's actually on this camera right now, and check this out. So right now it's set to 16 mil. And this is what I now have access to. So you see how all of a sudden there's so much more in view, and I am less than an arm's length away from my camera lens. Quite a big difference, as you saw, between the two lenses. So let's talk though about 3 areas that you can up-level your video production from your live events in. Number 1 is audio. There's a whole bunch of little mini microphone systems out there right now. The first one that I saw that was pretty popular, that was good anyway, was the Rode Wireless Go. There's another one that is my current favorite for these little devices, and it's by DJI. This little microphone is it's called the DJI mic. And what's really cool about it is it has its own little charging case. And this charging case can charge these devices, I believe it's like 3 times before the whole thing needs to be recharged. And when you do need to recharge the whole thing, you literally plug 1 cable in as opposed to 3. This little device here is really fantastic because, again, similar to the Rode Wireless Go, you can have 2 microphones as well as 1 receiver. As a result of having it be wireless, you can move around, right? Your camera doesn't have to go with you at every step of the way, which is really, really nice. It's a great little up level. The DJI mic, it is my current favorite, my current go-to for wireless lapel mics that are more entry level. This little combo is, I believe, just under $300. Next thing that I would highly recommend, obviously, a camera. And, you know, there's so many different ways that you can go with cameras these days. I would say an entry-level step-up camera would be like the Sony ZV-1. It's a great step up from just the camera that's in your computer. The camera that I use right now, the Sony A6600. The only thing about it has interchangeable lenses. Now there is a few different kits that you can buy to get a Sony A6600. Get yourself a camera. I happen to like the Sonys. I like them because they're small and they're really great little cameras. If you're a Canon person, I like the Canon EOS R. I like the new camera that just came out, the EOS R7. Is a great little camera. The A6600 that I'm looking at right now, I think is about $1,000 plus the cost of a lens. The next thing I'm going to say is the ability to switch video feeds inside of Zoom. Not by sharing your screen, but by actually switching camera feeds from maybe two different camera angles, maybe from a camera angle to a computer, is a really powerful thing to do and provides you a great amount of flexibility. It also makes for a nicer user experience or attendee experience. What I always recommend as a starting point, I have one of them, it sits on my desk at home or at the office, is the Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro. It's about $500. It's a little video switcher that you plug in your camera to, not USB camera. It has to be a camera that has an HDMI output on. So you plug in your camera to it, and then in addition to that, you can plug in a second video source. You can plug in a second camera if you want, and actually you can plug in up to 4 video sources. So in my case, oftentimes I'll have a computer plugged into it that has maybe slides or video playback, or if I'm demoing something, showing our platform Obvio to students as an example, that's something that you can easily do. Just cut full screen to video coming from your computer. Now, yes, you can just share screen inside of Zoom, but I think that the attendee experience, when they can just, they're looking at your video and all of a sudden your video transitions, is a much nicer, smoother experience for them. Those are 3 areas that I would recommend you take a look at if you're looking to up-level your video quality. Get a camera, get a microphone, some sort of video switcher to allow you to switch video. Now, before I finish, some people may ask, what about software, right? What about Ecamm or OBS or Wirecast or vMix? There's a whole bunch of software switchers that you can use as well. I personally prefer hardware, which is why I recommend the little ATEM Mini Pro from Blackmagic. So those are 3 levels that you can up-level your live virtual event production. And hope you found this information helpful. If you did, you want to get a question answered about live events, whether it's in person, virtual, or hybrid, head on over to askblueanything.com, submit your question, and maybe tomorrow yours will be the question I answer. We'll talk to you soon. Bye from New York.